Hey guys, I'm here today to do a review on the book Warcross by Marie Lu. This is the art copy, so if I am quoting and saying things from this book, I have to tell you that it might not be 100% accurate. It might have changed from the final copy and these things might not have happened exactly how I'm saying in this book. I'm not 100% if things change, so I have to just let you know that I am basing my review off an art copy. So I am a person who is 100% in love with video game stories. That's why my friend Ashley from Tea Leaves and Book Bindings let me borrow this, and I was so excited to read it. I grew up playing video games, so I'm a very biased person. Video games are really important to me. I love how video games work, and there's some really good video game books I read when I was younger, I think, that have made me biased towards what a video game story should be. There is The Reality Bug by DJ McCall. It is the fourth Pendragon book. It is the fourth Pendragon book in his Pendragon series. It is the absolute best video game book you will ever read. And it's like, I have to put a disclaimer for reviewing this book because I went into it wanting something better than The Reality Bug, and it's not better. So I had to separate that it's just a good book, but we'll get into comparing to other video game books after. It's about a girl named Amika. Her mother has left them, her father has passed away, and it's just her living on her own. She is a bounty hunter for this game called Warcross. Warcross is basically virtual reality, and she is a bounty hunter for people who have like huge debts in Warcross. She helps the police catch these criminals because the police are too busy with like actual crimes. And she'll get a few, like, $100, $1,000 here or there from catching people, depending on how bad they are. She's about to get evicted. She finds someone whose bounty is like $5,000, and she's like, perfect, I'll be able to pay all my rent, plus have some extra money to eat. She goes after them, she catches them, but the police say someone else, filled them in first. So even though she caught them, it's not her catch, which is totally unfair for her, because she did all the work of catching him. So she's down on her dumps, she goes home to her roommate, and they go on to Warcross. She has very outdated glasses and such that get them into this virtual reality. And she goes on just to her roommate's like, oh, let's go see the opening ceremony of these games that happen every year, and it's like a fighting adventure game that people who are the very highest ranked people on Warcross do. So she goes on and she's watching them play this game, and she sees that one of the characters has this really good item that she could sell for a lot of money, and she happens to be a really good hacker as well. So she's able to hack the system, steal the person's item. She has an anonymous profile, but the security of the system, once she hacks them, it kind of lists her identity, and everyone can see it's actually Amika, and so she gets kicked out of the game. The item gets taken from her, and her roommate's like, oh my god, you're gonna get arrested. You just hacked Warcross, the biggest gaming thing ever. Everyone saw your identity. So she's basically she thinks she's going to, go to jail, get killed, anything. So she's super freaked out. She keeps getting phone calls from the same number that say please call me back, but she's just too scared. They wake up in the morning and everyone knows where she lives. There's people out there wanting to see her. There's news vans. She answers the phone call, and it is the president of Warcross Gaming, and he wants her to go to Japan and meet with him. So that's the base, that is what the back of the book's going to tell you is the plot. I'm not spoiling anything. That's the first, few chapters of the book. It goes into the premise of the story, which is they hire her to become a hacker because someone else is trying to, hack the game. And that's where you go, this book is so predictable. I'm going to be kind of spoilery because I don't know how to talk about a book without completely ruining it for you. So if you just wanted to know the summary and know that I liked it, click off, but if you want to actually discuss and know my actual feelings of the book, keep watching. So she meets with the president, and he wants to hire her to become a hacker in his company to help find a different hacker. This hacker goes by Zero. He's trying to shut down the company, and by then that part of the book I went, oh, this president is going to be a bad person and this hacker is a good person. Because I'm sorry, this is how video game books work. The president is never a good guy. There's always some hidden meaning. There's always something bad. And there's always like a person in there who they want you to think is bad, but obviously they're like hacking for a good reason. You find out like you're not supposed to ask anything about the guy's family. Why? Because you know like some part of his family is going to be the one hacking. You know, like to me it was just so obvious. It was just right when you read those lines, it was like it came back at the end like shocking, and I was like, no, it was the most obvious written thing. But I still couldn't give this book like less than 4 stars. It was still a really good read. You had to just take away that you knew anything about video game books and predict it, and like it being predictable, and just read it. Also, there is a romance between Amika and the president of the company. It's weird. He's supposed to be older than her. They also do the timeline really weird. Maybe it's because this is an art copy, but in the beginning she is 11 and he is 14. And 11 is when Warcross Gaming like started or whatever, and now she's 18, and they refer to like, oh, Warcross Gaming has been a thing for 10 years, but it would have only been a thing for 7 years, unless I read something wrong or they made a mistake with the art copy. But I was like, huh, that doesn't make sense. So he's only like 3 years older than her, which isn't that creepy, but she like, I don't know. He's obviously using her for his gain, so that's not good. The positives about this book, though, are it is this really cool video game story. She is hired to be this hacker, but she's also, you know, she's pretending to be a player on this like Warcross game that happens every year. So she's like trains with them. I love a good training story. I love watching people train and get better at things and become better fighters, and she becomes a better hacker and like, you know, can get to the objective first, and it's this cool like them jumping around, dodging knives, like dodging fights, and then it has lots of like HP down, points up, your point level's gone up, and I'm a very big gamer, so I like reading about like you got enough points to level up. Oh no, their HP is down, they need like to be healed. I don't know, it's very exciting to me. I enjoyed it. Overall, it is a solid first book in a series. It is very well written. You're going to get sucked in and want to keep reading, but it's just very predictable. I want to tell you that Pendragon's The Reality Bug, I believe, is very well written and not predictable at all. I don't think you would know what was like, I would not guess the ending or anything that was happening at all. It is so good. I could reread that one just to reread a book, even though it is 4th in a series. Also, Heir Apparent by Vivian van de Velde is also a super good video game book. She is stuck in a virtual reality story, and it goes back to medieval times. Eventually, it's if she doesn't get out of the video game, she will die in real life. I love a good, you're gonna die in real life if you don't get out of it. It is not predictable either. Very well written. This is very much like Ready Player One. Very much the same concept of like, oh, you're just gonna go into this virtual reality is very simple, of just like in your house putting on some glasses and then you're in there. The other ones were more like you had to get hooked up and like hooked up to a machine and sucked in, and I think that's cooler than just like, oh, put on these glasses and then you can take off these glasses and you're out of the virtual reality super fast. So this was very similar to Ready Player One in that aspect. Finally, I liked the characters. I liked the world of Warcross Gaming. I don't think it was very explained, or they could have added way more, but I think they will maybe in the second book. I just didn't like the obviousness of it. I just think they should have let things out of like, don't ask about his family. That was just a giveaway of like, why? Because he's got a secret that like a family member is going to show up later. Guys, it was a really good read this year. I do highly recommend it. I did enjoy it. But if you're a video game lover, just go into it knowing you need to kind of push away your love of video games and just kind of read it instead of comparing it to other video game books. And if you're not a video game book lover, you'll probably just like it because it's a well-written book. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!